Good morning, members of the Council of Palm Coast. My name is Anthony Schembri. I'm here to make a presentation. A couple of things. I'm uncomfortable talking about myself. I'd rather talk about uh, my process on how some of the things have to be done. I've looked at the 10 questions. The 10 questions, to me, seem to have a common theme: leadership. And you'll forgive me for glancing at my notes. I wanted to make sure that I made this presentation in some type of an order. My skills lie in organizational development, making an organization better at what it does. Palm Coast, as I looked at it, suffers from an old-fashioned wedding cake table of organization, rife with mission creep, which responsibilities are falling on different people for the same responsibility. Uh, no one is in charge, the way I see it, of training. In order to improve an organization, one must improve its participants. Now, with me, training is a continual process. Now, no one is in charge of training. When I take over a department, I usually someone is in charge of training, and I have them report directly to me. So it's important that we make people better at what they do. My problem now I'm going to connect a couple of dots. When training does not happen on a regular basis, people make mistakes, especially in government. I've had a lot of experience with this, and I have a way of dealing with it. Now, the word mistake is a bad word for a good try that didn't make it. Now, I've met people, I've done a lot of training, given a lot of speeches, and I've used a device that has worked for me and a lot of people. And that device is, people don't come into the boss's office and say, "Hey, boss, I made a mistake." And when they don't do that and the mistakes pile up, your successor fixes them. So one of the problems is to get people to come forward with mistakes. So the first memo I send out is to eliminate the word mistake and instead replace it with the word pizza. Now that you've stopped laughing, number one, everybody likes pizza. So people come into my office and say, "Hey, boss, I made a pizza." Okay? The word is much more becoming and safe. And of course, I say, "Oh, yeah? Let's talk about it." So we fix our mistakes, and the mistakes become less and less. This is a practical way of avoiding future mistakes. My strategy is I conduct a needs assessment. Now, it's important to conduct a needs assessment. It makes me hit the ground running, and it makes people jump on my team. They get a chance of having a say on the good parts and the bad parts of the organization. So everyone gets a chance to buy in. Um, you Question number two, which is a strong suit of mine. I wrote a book on leadership, um, and what's my style? If you think about it for a minute, who gets the very best out of people? Just think about it. Coaches and conductors get the very best out of people. I spoke to an NBC violinist and told me I never played the Brahms that good until I played for Toscanini. Toscanini demanded the best. I demand the best. My battle cry is do it over, do it over, do it over. I do not accept bad work. I send it back. Strange thing happens. People say, I'm not going to send it to him because he's not going to accept it. So the quality of our work gets better, and you can't be perfectly conscientious part-time. So who gets the best out of people? Coaches and conductors. And in all winning organizations, whether at Palm Coast or what have you, the organization takes care of its people. I take care of the people who work for me. My favorite story is when I got appointed by the governor. I've been appointed by 3 governors, 2 mayors, a board of county commissioners, a prosecutor. So I made my bosses happy because of my approach. It's important that we examine how we treat our people in the organization. And my favorite story is I walked into one of my offices around the state, and I saw a woman who was sitting in a chair with 4 wheels. One of the wheels was missing, and they put a block of wood there so she wouldn't fall over. Isn't that wonderful? This is how we treat the people who work for us. We don't even give them a good chair to sit in. So this is an easy fix for me. I said, how long have you been sitting in that chair? She's about 6 months. I said, tell you what I want you to do. Take that chair, bring it to your boss's office, and swap chairs. And she says, oh, I couldn't do that. I says, yeah, you'll be it. Don't worry about it. And she brought in this marvelous leather tufted chair. Well, he comes back after a 2-hour lunch, and he says, what's going on in my chair? I said, well, you let people work for you, sit in a chair like that. You know what it says? You know what the organization says to the participant? It says, we don't care about you. We don't care about you so much. We're not even going to give you a good chair to sit in. And you know what the employee says? I'm only going to do the minimum amount of work to get by. And so we don't get that extra out of the employee. Well, I was just there and had a meeting with the governor and all the other commissioners. And he pointed to me and he says, my new commissioner, Anthony, how are you? I says, getting to know people, not much to report. He says, oh, yeah? Taking any more chairs away from people? And he smiled. Well, why wouldn't he smile? Sick leave went down. Suggestions went up. Someone came along who was going to take care of the people who worked for them, moving right along. The battle cry today, and you all know that, the battle cry today is change. The battle cry is change and meets the strongest force in government, inertia. Trying to change government at times, you will meet, I know, just bear with me for the moment, you will meet my wife's roast beef. When we got married, my wife used to cut off the ends of the roast beef. And I said, why do you do that? She said, well, my mother cooked it like that. Gets brown on top, the juice comes out. And I asked my mother-in-law one day, why did you cook roast beef like that? She said, the juice comes out, gets brown on top. And that's the way my mother cooked it. I asked my mother-in-law's mother one day, I said, do you remember when you cooked roast beef? She says, yes. I said, why did you cut off the ends? She says, oh, I could never get it in my pan. I'll wait a moment until you stop laughing. Okay. That's what we do in government sometimes. We're doing the same thing, and the reason is long gone. And I am the enemy to that. Government needs what I refer to, some of you may have heard this term or not, called pentimento. In the art world, if you look at old paintings, the paintings become transparent. And you could see through the painting, and a house was really a mountain. What happened was the artist changed his mind. And so he repented. He put a house where a mountain he eliminated. In government, we need to change our mind. It's okay for government to change its mind because conditions change. I like to go out, and I got a wonderful headline one day. I go out and I do listening tours. I like to listen. I go out to the social glue, all of the social organizations, and I give a little speech and I listen to them. I want to hear their complaints. I'm receptive to complaints. Some I can fix, some I can't. But people would rather know that you can't and the reason why than not have any explanation. My favorite word is to convene. I love to convene experts on something I don't know anything about. Let's say wastewater. What are they doing out there that works? I'm a big proponent of what works, what doesn't, and what's promising. So I like to take something I don't know anything about and do something about that. One of the things, and one of your questions, and my response is going to go across all 10 questions. For example, some of the things you have not talked about is traffic. Now, I chaired the Westchester County Traffic Safety Board of 64 police departments. And I have learned in traffic problems that traffic problems fall into one of three categories: education, enforcement, and engineering. So if you start out by looking at those three categories, you could do something about it. Palm Coast is growing. Palm Coast has problems in traffic. And so I bring an additional skill set that I'd like to mention. I like to engage the talent of the people who work for me. I am a talent hunter. In Palm Coast, with all those employees, you have undiscovered talent. I love to tell the story. When I was in the Army, they assigned a convicted arsonist to my platoon. A convicted arsonist. I made him the flamethrower. Okay, you could stop laughing again. The man likes fire. I gave him fire. I play to his strength. What am I going to do? Follow this guy and see if he's lighting matches? We gave him something that he likes. Now, as a talent hunter, it's important to look at the talent we have in the organization. I refer to, many of you are older, to Ed Sullivan. Now, Ed Sullivan was on television for 30 years. He couldn't tell a joke. He couldn't sing. He couldn't act. He was on television for 30 years. What was his talent? He could recognize talent. I bring a skill set that I seek and look for talent organization, and I put it to good use. Now, what we do here in government, especially in an office like that, we make decisions. Now, some people are good at decision making. I could fill up that council room with books on decision making. I have looked at great decision makers years ago, and great decision makers don't make great decisions. They don't make bad ones. They make steady good ones. And the three um, qualities that I have used that have served me well in decision making, and I pay a lot of attention to that. Is this a decision I have to make now? What are my options? And do I have all of the facts? In making good decisions, I must answer those three questions. I wrote a book on leadership. It's in my book. I do a lot of training and speeches on the subject, and people tell me that. I gave a speech to the U.S. Conference of Mayors in Philadelphia, and the mayors like that. I still hear from mayors from time to time tell me that they like that formula. Um, Discipline, question number 6. You talked about discipline. Now, that's a strong suit of mine. I was an inspector general. As a law professor, I developed the first course on ethics and corruption in government. I attended the Cornell Labor Institute with the head of my union, so we would get along much better. That course in law school was complemented by Harry Blackmun of the Supreme Court, Roe v. Wade. So I'm kind of very proud of my work on um, corruption and integrity in government. I developed the course in June, and I was asked to join the faculty in September. Very proud of that. And of course, when you bring employees on charge, you dismiss employees, when you fire employees, the morale goes up. Um, Now, that's important about the morale of an employee. A recent survey of employees say this: I'm only working at 60% of capacity. 50% of employees, the reason for absenteeism in the workplace is headaches caused by supervisors. So the most important thing is I like to prepare good training in supervision and getting more out of what we have. You can't get more out of what we have if they're only working at 60% of capacity. I'm not coming to you and say, I need more employees, I need more technology, I need more people, when I don't get more out of what we have. A good day for some employees is when their boss calls out sick. So I find out about that pretty quickly. Um, I contact employees through supervisors. It's important. Supervisors are the most important person in the organization. If something is going on and they know about it and don't do anything about it, they're incompetent. If they don't do anything about it, they're uh, they're complicit. I'm an outsider. I have come in several times as an outsider. This is a very important skill set because I hit the ground running. Coming in as an outsider, a couple of things happen. I'd like to explain that. People are afraid of you. They don't know whether they're going to be better off or worse off. But as an outsider, you have to understand that you bring the skill set to draw people towards you. Uh, and that's something different. Um, and that's important as an outsider. You understand that the initial reaction to an outsider, people are afraid of you. So the first couple of weeks, when you hit the ground running, is to get out there with the employees, getting to know somebody, so they don't say, "Uh-oh, here comes the boss." Instead, they say, "Hey, here comes the boss." Okay, and I give them a pleasant experience. I let them tell me about the problems. I do a lot of listening. They like that. They like telling their complaints about the workplace. Okay. Um, I don't know how much more I have. 30 minutes. Let me make some. I don't need 30 minutes. I think you got a pretty good idea about me. Um, you have one question as to what you did. One of the things I'm kind of proud was we did a survey in the county. The literacy rate was very, very high. So I brought in all my librarians and we trained them on literacy, and we brought in literacy training. And it was hard program to start up because people are kind of embarrassed about that. I have to. The one of the councilwomen, the woman on the right to the mayor, she said something about the role of government. I'm sorry, I didn't catch her name. Uh, she and I are going to get along very well if I come there. About the role of government. Now, here's something that government could do: increase the literacy rate. I have to share with you the letters I got after we convinced people to take this course. I can read to my children. I could read uh, directions. I can vote. So I'm kind of proud. Now, see, I've run large organizations. What attracts me to Palm Coast, many of you may be saying, he's run large organizations. When you make improvements in large organizations, they're imperceptible. I love local government because the improvements you make are perceptible. So that's what attracts me to agencies like Palm Coast. So when that council person said she wanted to look at the role of government, I think that was important. Uh, One of the questions had to do with, uh, um, I think I tried to answer them all at once. When you faced a complex, high stakes decision, and that was with the black community. Most of our inmates were black. I went into the black community. I was the keynote speaker for crime in the black community. I brought in the black community and said, "We have a lot of black inmates here. We want to do something about it." That stopped the problems by engaging with the social glue in the black community. I went to every church on Sunday and spoke to black churches. I am very proud of that. If I didn't, I have quelled 7 disturbances. Those skills I might have to use in dealing with this council if it's any impression of some of the meetings I looked at. I may need some of these skills. Anyway, I'm kind of proud of that, preventing some of the problems in the black community. So what I tried to do is not answer these questions one by one, but there's a winning theme that went across these 10 questions. That was, of course, leadership. That's good, bringing good management on what works, what doesn't, what's promising, and how I deal with people who work for me. I'm going to brag for a minute. Forgive me. People like working for me. I get more out of what I have. Morale goes up, sick leave goes down, and Palm Coast attracts me, and I gave you the reasons. So I'm going to stop right now and say that I wish you the best of luck in your search. I am pleased to come aboard and help this board uh, accomplish what they want to do and help you in any way I can. Good luck to all of you, and good luck in your search. Bye now.